Good evening and warm welcome to you. This is Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. I'm Ruth Aguela. The Nigerian Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs, under the leadership of its President, General and Sultan of Sokoto, His Eminence Alhaji Muhammad Sa'ad Abubakar, felicitates with the entire Muslim Ummah in Nigeria and all over the world on the successful completion of this year's Ramadan fast, wishing all Allah's immeasurable rewards. In preparation for the 1442 after Hijrah Eid al-Fitr celebrations, the National Moon Sighting Committee of the Council has advised the President General that the crescent of Shawwal should be searched for on Tuesday, 11th May 2021, equivalent to 29th Ramadan 1442 after Hijrah. If the crescent is sighted by informed persons on Tuesday night, and His Eminence is so advised by the experts, he would address the press to declare Wednesday, 12th May 2021 as the first day of Shawwal. If, however, the crescent is not sighted on Tuesday night, Thursday, 13th May 2021 automatically becomes the first of Shawwal 1442 after Hijrah. A press statement to that effect would be issued on Tuesday night. Muslims all over the country are hereby enjoined to be on the lookout for the crescent moon and to call the following numbers displayed on the screen following credible sighting. A coalition of farmers, politicians and artisans known as Baba Buhari for All has reached out to the vulnerable across the country with food items. The nationwide exercise also benefited about 5,200 people across the 6 area councils in the Federal Capital Territory. National Coordinator Baba Buhari for All, Aminu Sani Jaji, said the gesture is to appreciate those that remained faithful to the Buhari administration and to reduce the economic effect among the people, particularly Muslims, in the month of Ramadan.
It's one of the reasons that we are sharing these palliatives in this month of Ramadan, so that we seek the blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so that this issue of insecurity will be resolved. And you can see from the day that we start sharing this thing, people are praying for this administration and the country at large.
Because we need to change the narratives, and this is part of the what is changing the narratives now. We expect other groups to do the same.
People are smiling now. You can see the party faithfuls are very smiling. Look at this man with bag, very smiling. Look at this man smiling. Look at me too, I'm smiling. And so we are happy. We thank the Mr. President. We thank the supporters of Mr. President.
The beneficiaries commended the gesture and appealed to other well-meaning Nigerians to key into a similar initiative to assist ongoing government activities for the good of the people. Well, Ramadan fast is an annual ritual undertaken by Muslims as a compulsory pillar of the religion. Abubakar Usman Akwanga reports on this sacred act of worship as this year's holy month winds down.
We have prayed and we continue to pray.
For about a month, Malam Abubakar Siddiq Muhammad has been engulfed to the reciting and listening to the glorious Quran as he strives to improve his knowledge and understanding of the divine scripture. This is expected of every Muslim in the 9th month of the Islamic lunar calendar, the month in which the glorious Quran was revealed to mankind through Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him.
Ramadan, as we know, has helped us to, really look at how to solve a lot of these problems while being proactive enough to build a stronger bond and connection with the Almighty.
In addition to abstaining from eating, drinking and conjugal relations from dusk to dawn, Muslim faithful intensify acts of worship and supplication to seek Allah's forgiveness and mercy.
Zakat al-Fitr, it will serve as a purification for a fasting person.
Few days to the end of Ramadan fast, Malam Muhammad and other faithful are keeping vigil, seeking divine intervention for peace and stability of the country.
My hope is that during and after the Ramadan, there will be peace, inshallah.
All my prayers goes towards the reigning of peace in the country.
Faithfuls are also required to maintain this act of worship even after Ramadan. In a couple of hours, the crescent is expected to be sighted, signifying the end of the Ramadan by marking the Eid al-Fitr celebration.
Fasting is one of the 5 pillars of Islam, and it is usually observed during the holy month of Ramadan. And as Muslim Ummah the world over prepares to bid farewell to the year 1442 after Hijrah Ramadan fast, the month of Shawwal immediately comes with a recommended 6 voluntary fasting, which could be observed on a day after the Eid al-Fitr celebration to the last day of the month, as it is prohibited for a Muslim to observe fasting on the day of the Salah feast. In Abuja, I am Abubakar Usman Akwanga, NTA News.
Thank you, Abubakar, for that. And yes, aside peace and unity being preached this holy month of Ramadan, something very critical is Zakat al-Fitr. And I have in the studio Ustaz Abubakar Siddiq. He's an Islamic scholar and also member of the Nigerian Supreme Council of Islamic Affairs. Thank you very much, Ustaz, for joining us.
Welcome, Ruth.
Okay, let's talk the Zakat al-Fitr. How is it a bridge builder between the have and the have-not?
That is the purpose of the Zakat al-Fitr, otherwise called Sadaqat al-Fitr or Zakat al-Fitra. It all means the same thing. It is to cleanse, as one of the scholars in your report has said, purification for one who fasted, and also assistance to those in need, so that everybody will celebrate the Eid with something. Every Muslim should be able to give to another Muslim. That is anyone that is in need.
Okay, and just for clarity's sake, can parents include an independent child in their Zakat al-Fitr?
What is
Can parents, include an independent child, like a child who is independent on its own, in their Zakat al-Fitr?
No, independent child who has attained majority and has means is out. But whoever is under the care of the parents, he is part of those that would be given Zakat al-Fitr on their behalf. Even infants, some scholars even said one who is in the womb should also be given out. Zakat al-Fitr should be given out on behalf of that person who is in the womb, according to some scholars.
Before the child is born?
Even before the child is born, it is recommended. But any other person aside the fetus is obligatory. Normal zakah is levied on the income and the property or the wealth.
Okay.
But Zakat al-Fitr is on the person, regardless of whether they are rich or poor. Provided they have what to sustain them for a day, then they should be able, out of the superfluity of that substance, to give out to those who do not have.
And from your assessment, I know this is something that is being preached all the time.
Yes.
Beyond the Ramadan fast, how can Muslims imbibe this as a culture, as something that is a part of them beyond Ramadan?
Sadaqah, you see, every zakah is sadaqah, but not every sadaqah is obligatory. Okay. So those sadaqah that are supererogatory are encouraged every time of a Muslim's life. He looks at another person who is less than him in income and provides for them as a means of becoming closer to Allah and attaining his countenance and reward.
Okay, and when you talk about reward, for the person who doesn't understand, what kind of reward are they expecting?
Yeah, reward for the forgiveness of their sins, reward for blessings of whatever Allah has given them, reward in the eternal bliss of paradise, which is the ultimate goal for every living being.
And this holy month of Ramadan is one every Muslim I know cherishes so much, because it's a time that draws you closer to Allah. Yes. You replenish your spirit. Yeah. What would you advise? The Eid al-Fitr is expected to be celebrated in the next 2 days. What would you advise Muslims in terms of attributing themselves positively, portraying themselves positively, living right?
Ramadan is an institution, Ruth.
Yes.
We are all students in it now, and we are about to graduate in 2 days' time. So after graduation, we should hold our certificates dearly and put into practice whatever we have learned during that learning period of Ramadan.
Okay, what is your advice to Nigerians in general? This is a very critical time for us, talking about insecurity and the rest. What would you advise?
No, we have been praying since the beginning of Ramadan, praying for peace and security, praying for our security agencies that they have the upper hand against bandits, against terrorists, against the enemies of the state. So that would continue. And of course, His Eminence the Sultan has, given an information to the Muslims to intensify prayers during this month of Ramadan, especially during the last 10 days of Ramadan, as we are now witnessing, for peace to reign, for Allah to make our country a region of security, devoid of all these banditry and terrorism and insecurity generally.
Thank you very much, Ustaz Abubakar Siddiq. We pray that Allah accepts all our supplications.
Thank you.
Right, he's an Islamic scholar, and we've been talking about Zakat al-Fitr, that is alms given. But let's look at other issues. The Kingdom of Saudi Arabia has announced that the 2021 Hajj pilgrimage will hold under what it describes as special conditions amid COVID-19. Health authorities in the kingdom say it will continue to assess the situation while also taking measures to ensure the safety of all during the forthcoming exercise. A statement by a spokesman with the Ministry of Hajj and Umrah announced that further details on the operational plans will be announced at a later time. Last year, the kingdom only allowed a limited number of those living in the country and who met certain criteria to participate in the pilgrimage, which is one of the 5 pillars of Islam and required for able-bodied Muslims at least once in their lifetime. The Consul General of Nigeria in Shanghai, China, and High Commissioner Designate to Australia, Ambassador Anderson Madubike, says Nigeria and China will continue to leverage on investment incentives put in place by Nigeria for stimulation of the private sector. At an interactive session with Chinese officials in Shanghai, Ambassador Madubike explains that those incentives are meant to attract investment from within and outside the country. Some of these incentives, he says, cover all sectors, while others are limited to some specific sectors. In attendance were members of the diplomatic corps, captains of industry, as well as officials of all provinces under the jurisdiction of the consulate. Participants agree that Nigeria-China relations have continued to wax stronger, enabling a robust investment promotion among the two countries. Ambassador Madubike is the 4th Consul General of Nigeria in Shanghai and will be moving to Australia as Nigeria's High Commissioner to that country. All right, our first stop will be Lagos, and Adiola is set to guide us.
Thank you, Ruth. Traders at Cairo Market have started channeling their emotions and resources towards restructuring and recovery following the fire outbreak, which razed their shops few days back. Although the owner of the market has embarked on reconstruction, the question of who bears the cost remains unanswered, as we hear from Michael Olaleye, who is at the scene to give us an update. Hello, Michael.
Thank you, studio. The expectation to start a new week is always high, based on the possibility that new opportunities might be on the way. But the atmosphere here at Cairo Market in Lagos is, however, dull due to the tragic incident of last Thursday, which claimed property worth millions of naira and impeded on traders' source of livelihood.
From this place, we feed our children, send them to school. So we need the government to come to our aid, to come and help us, because the loss is too much.
The ray of hope here is that the path to reconstruction has commenced, and business owners here are mobilizing resources to ensure that they get back on track.
There is a group that are working on how to assist them. I don't know what the government can do for them. But we will get them their shop back. We assure them of that. After we consult, we have already get their numbers. We have their names with us. We have the number of the shop. We place the number back there, and with their names, we allocate back to them.
Although the fire has long been put out, but the trail of tragedy left in the wake of the ugly incident still permeates the atmosphere. And those not really affected are also feeling the pain.
Like you can see, if you do the video from here down, these shops are not opened. These are people goods. This is like 3 days outside selling, so we are affected.
We hope succor comes their way as soon as possible. It's now back to the studio for the continuation of the news.
Thank you, Michael. We sincerely hope succor comes their way soonest. Moving on now. More than 100 schools will be connected to internet in the first phase of the municipal fiber optic internet penetration aimed at aiding learning and research in education sector in the state. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu made this known after commissioning blocks of classrooms and school infrastructure projects in 4 schools in Lagos. Musa Toliat completes the report.
The completion of the blocks of classrooms is captured in the themes agenda of Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu to create conducive learning environment in schools across the metropolis. Blocks of 18 classrooms in 4 schools were commissioned under the school infrastructure intervention. The recipient schools are Fazil Omar Senior High School and Onike Girls Junior High School, both in Yaba Local Council Development Area. Others are Igbobi Junior High School, Shomolu, and Akinton Junior Grammar School in Surulere.
We have so far completed over 1,097 projects, covering about 970 schools across the state in less than 2 years. In the last 2 years, we have ensured that we promptly construct and rehabilitate over 322 dilapidated structures. We're flagging off the school infrastructure renewal project to deliver over 300 new classrooms, which includes 7 new hostel blocks that is added over 2,000 bed spaces in our model schools.
Mr. Governor's focus has not been on infrastructure alone. He has also touched virtually all elements of the value chain of education, including teacher recruitment and training.
Governor Sanwo-Olu also hinted that in a bid to make Lagos schools competitive and enhance learning, 65 schools have so far been connected in the ongoing fiber optic internet connectivity program. Several other school infrastructure intervention projects are ongoing across the metropolis. In Lagos, Musa Toliat, NTA News.
Those are reports from Lagos for now. Nationwide will continue after this break, but it will be with Frama in Jos. To stay with us.
COVID-19 task force have publicly taken the vaccine to follow in the footsteps of President Buhari and Vice President Oshibaja. To obtain it yourself, please go to the NPHCDA website. There is a link to click on in order to register and schedule your vaccination. In the meantime, please continue to wear face masks, wash your hands frequently, use hand sanitizer, and observe social distancing. This message was brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
Contemporary times require practical skills to remain competitive and relevant in your organization. Therefore, take advantage of NTA TV College short proficiency courses to sharpen your professional skills. Intermediate camera operation techniques. Date 17th May to 11th June 2021. 4 weeks. Electrical power, earthing, lighting, UPS, inverter and solar system. Date 31st May to 4th June 2021. 1 week. Studio broadcast equipment and OB operations. Date 14th June to 18th June 2021. 1 week. English grammar and pronunciation for broadcasters. Date 28th June to 23rd July 2021. 4 weeks. The course fee for the 4-week course is 100,000 naira per participant, while the course fee for the 1-week course is 40,000 naira only. Accommodation inclusive. Venue for all the courses is the serene and secure environment of NTA TV College near Old Government House, Rayfield, Jos. For more inquiries, please call 0806-980-9807. NTA TV College, Jos. Training you to be the best you want to be. Visit our website on www.nta.ng for more news and updates, or follow us on Twitter at NTA News Now. You can also like us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/NTA Network News. Stay connected and subscribe to our YouTube channel at www.youtube.com/NTA News Online. Watch our news live streaming at www.nta.ng/live.
The Sports Parliament, your weekly sports program, is back to the studio every Thursday, 10:30 p.m. to 11:30 p.m. live on the Nigerian Television Authority, Africa's largest television network. Watch out for the parliamentarians with renewed vigor and zest. Mr. Speaker with his gavel to harmonize sports resolutions. Sports Parliament, a must-watch. Sports Parliament, the home of sports verdict. The eyes have it.
Good evening. This is Nationwide and welcome to JOS. The enactment of the Police Trust Fund and Fund Act and Regulation 2020 are indicative of the federal government's effort in repositioning the force to enable it function effectively. The Inspector General of Police, Usman Al-Khali Baba, stated this in JOS at the graduation of the Tactical Leadership and Command course, which had 44 participants. Grace Akwegotip reports.
The course refreshed participants' knowledge on the traditional police duties for higher responsibilities in management level and exposed them to emerging trends in crime. Codenamed Operation Haskebiu, it also exposed them to joint operations and strengthening their knowledge on the significance and benefits of interagency collaboration for the attainment of national security objectives.
We are going to make sure we lecture our men and impact the knowledge to them whereby they will practice them.
Can only be responsible by doing what the law says we should do, in tandem with the instruction of the Inspector General of Police.
Inspector General of Police Usman Al-Khali Baba represented notes that with necessary support, policing in the nearest future in Nigeria will favorably compete with those of the Western world.
He is determined to make sure that peace will be restored in all the crisis areas in Nigeria, and he's doing his possible best to reach out to have interagency cooperation with other security agents, especially the military, DSS, and others.
Other participants emphasized the infrastructural needs of the force to be addressed for effective performance. In JOS, Grace Akwegotip, NTA News.
Governor Simon Lalong has lauded the vision of President Muhammadu Buhari in turning around the education sector through various intervention programs. He was speaking while receiving members of the University of Jos Presidential Visitation Panel. Indian and Diabagyang reports.
University of Jos is among 38 federal universities to be visited by the Presidential Visitation Panel set up by the Minister of Education. The visit was to evaluate activities of the university to include
to look into the leadership quality of the university in terms of the roles of the governing councils, the vice chancellors, and other principal officers, to examine the financial management of the institution, including statutory allocations and internally generated revenue over the period under investigation.
Governor Simon Lalong says the University of Jos is one of the assets of the state and represents diverse groups due to the cosmopolitan nature of the state. He reiterated government support towards advancing the cause of the academic institution, expressing optimism that the visit of the panel will enhance operations of the university.
When we do the visitation, ensure that we do it to correct some certain things so that we have smooth progression and running of universities in Nigeria.
Vice Chancellor of the institution described the visit as apt, as it will delve into critical needs of the institution for better output. In Jos, Indenyan and the Abagyang, NTA News.
That's it from Jos. Ruth, it's back to you.
Thank you very much, Rama. Katsina Police Command says only 10 out of about 40 Muslims adopted by bandits during Tuhajjud midnight congregation prayer at Dibia in Katsina State are still missing. Confirming the incident through a telephone chat with correspondent Shehu Adamu, the command's public relations officer, Superintendent Gambo Isa, said the worshippers were abducted around 2 a.m. at a newly constructed mosque at the outskirts of Abuja town. SP Gambo Isa, however, said the combined efforts of security personnel made many of the captives escaped, leaving only 10 persons missing. He said security personnel are still on the chase of the bandits who are heading towards Zamfara Forest. Troops of Operation Sare Mutani operating in Zamfara and adjoining states in the northwest have rescued 18 kidnapped victims and eliminated 40 bandits. A statement by the Director of Army Public Relations, Brigadier General Mohammed Yerima, says the operation also cleared bandits camps in Gabia, Bozaya and Meriri in Maru local government area of Zamfara state, while several top bandits leaders were either killed or escaped with bullet wounds. 6,282 rounds of different ammunitions, 8 AK-47 magazine and a motorcycle were among items recovered from the criminals. To strengthen the fight against smuggling, the Katsina Area Command of the Nigerian Customs Service has embarked on the sensitization of border communities to avail them with business opportunities facilitated by the Customs Service to drive the nation's economy. This is coming at a time when operatives of the command intercepted and seized contraband smuggled into the country with duty-paid value of over 50 million naira. Shehu Adamu reports.
The renewed commitment of the leadership of the Nigerian Customs Service in the fight against smuggling activities and promote ease of doing business in Nigeria encourage the service commands and formations to embark on the sensitization of stakeholders to boost the nation's revenue base. To achieve this, therefore, the acting controller of the Katsina Area Command of the Nigerian Customs Service, Dalhawada Chedi, met with stakeholders including traditional rulers from 4 border communities along Magama-Jibia and Dankama axis to avail them with the business opportunities facilitated by the Nigerian Customs Service.
The response we got from them was very, very encouraging, because they felt if things like this are happening regular, then definitely there are so many things can be avoided. And from our part, we are happy. We tell them about the opportunities from the federal government of Nigeria, the incentives that it's ready for them to utilize.
Acting Controller Dalhawada Chedi said the sensitization will be a continuous exercise until the objectives are fully realized. Meanwhile, operatives of the Katsina Area Command of the Nigerian Customs Service have between 9th of April and 4th of this month intercepted and seized smuggled 486 bags of foreign rice of 50 kilograms each, 197 jerry cans of vegetable oil of 25 liters each, 304 cartons of foreign spaghetti, 6 cartons of foreign tomato paste, 21 cartons of couscous, and 12 cartons of macaroni, among others. The command operatives also succeeded in intercepting smuggled vehicles, which include, among others, 1 Howo tipper truck, 1 Mandisel tipper truck, 1 Toyota Corolla 2008 model, 1 Citroen Space Wagon bus, 1 EOD Honda Accord, and 1 Volkswagen Passat. Acting Controller Alhawada Chedi said 1 person was arrested in the process and reiterates the determination of the Katsina Area Command of the Nigerian Customs Service in fighting smuggling in all ramifications. In Katsina, Shehu Adamu, NTA News.
In Port Harcourt, we hear Governor Wike takes stiffer measures against insecurity. Let's join Doris, who is already standing by. Doris.
And welcome to Port Harcourt. Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike says the state will not be cowed by any sectionalist agenda or their intimidation, but will continue to do everything within its power to foster unity of the country. This was when the governor paid a condolence visit to the Nigerian police over its officers and men who fell to bullets of some gunmen. Oge Dinyekwe reports.
The attacks by unidentified armed assailants on some police formations across the state that claim about 11 police officers, Governor Nyesom Wike has paid a condolence visit to the officers and men of the River State Police Command. He commiserated with the families of those policemen who lost their lives in the faceless attack of last Friday's night and promised to compensate each of the families with 20 million naira.
Well, back the coffee to 7 p.m. Anybody that comes after 7 p.m., tell the person to sit down. Let the person be there to day break.
The governor enjoined the police not to rest on their oars, but ensure that the perpetrators of the crime are brought to book. Commissioner of Police, Rivers State, Ebuka Friday, on behalf of the Inspector General of Police, Usman Akale Baba, thanked the governor for the visit.
We pray that Almighty God will grant the departed peaceful rest and their family before they bear the loss.
He emphasized that these attacks will not deter them from carrying out their responsibilities. Other security matters were further discussed. In Port Harcourt, Ogedinyekwe, NTA News.
Cases of rape and murder of young women have become prevalent in the society, and many are attributing the trend to moral decadence and drug addiction. To arrest the situation, parents are advised to instill in their male children norms and values that will shape them into responsible members of the society. Justine Atim in this report looks at increasing cases of rape and murder of women and girls and possible solutions to end the menace.
Nigeria is currently facing security challenges, and one of those challenges which, if left unattended to, may escalate beyond control is the issue of rape and murder of young women and girls. Those who fall prey are often lured by rapists posing as job providers, like the recent case of Iniobong Umorin, allegedly raped and murdered in Akwa Ibom State, as well as many unreported cases in other parts of the country. What could be possible reasons for this crime?
The young men today are not properly trained.
Many parents are very careless. Even you see your child going and is not dressed well. You, the mother, the child is coming from your house. You leave her to go like that.
Sincerely, if you should say it's the dress code of the ladies, you'll be putting it wrongly, because many, even we've heard of even Muslim girls dressed down to their hijabs being raped. So it's either the man or the other party, because it's not just women being raped, have a psychological problem, or he just have this sexual urge that he can't control.
The emotional and psychological trauma that rape victims suffer are of dire consequences and could last for a lifetime.
For some, being raped will be life-threatening, become disorganized, there's confusion after the whole incident, and it appears as if they are no longer themselves, what we call depersonalization. The entire environment changes, derealization.
The Bible kick against it.
What does the law say about rape?
The Constitution talks about right to personal liberty. If you are raped, it's a crime and it's abuse to your right. Then the criminal code talks about 14 years imprisonment. Although there are several different state criminal law. Some states have 20 years, some states have life imprisonment. Then now some agitation that rapists should be condemned to death.
As the fight against this dastardly acts continues, concerned persons are calling for amplified actions from all and sundry. In Calabar, Justina Etam, NTA News.
Our contribution from Port Harcourt Nationwide continues with Abubakar in Maiduguri after the break.
Nigerian youths are about the greatest assets the country has at the moment. It is therefore not surprising that the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari is strategically responding to the yearnings of the youth through multiple projects and programs. Youth entrepreneurship support years by Bank of Industry, the Youth Investment Fund by the CBN, and several other conditional cash transfer programs. Recruitment of 774,000 social workers, majority of whom are youths, and so many other projects that are beneficial to youths directly or indirectly. If the administration can do all this, definitely with a degree of patience and time, it can achieve more. Nigerian youths must come together to say no to terrorism, no to vandalism, and no to all disruptive tendencies. Hashtag Youth for Greater Nigeria. Pacifying the youths, unifying the nation.
Also nationwide on the Nigerian Television Authority, and this is Maiduguri Zonal Network Center. Borno State Emergency Management Agency has reached out to victims of fire disaster at Faria Gherkin Block IDP's camp, located within Maiduguri, the state capital, with palliative support to ease their hardship. Distribution of the relief materials was performed by the acting governor, who is also the deputy governor of the state, Umar Usman Kadafur. Pauline Kujevana completes the story.
Flagging off the distribution of relief materials to the victims of the fire disaster at Faria IDP camp, the state acting governor Umar Usman Gadafur says the state will look into the possibility of providing them with permanent shelter to forestall future occurrence. The acting governor cautioned them to be very careful when using firewood for cooking, considering the nature of the environment they find themselves, which is vulnerable to fire disaster.
When we received the news of this unfortunate development, we directed the SEMA to swing into action, and swiftly they came to the site and assessed the damage that has been done.
The acting governor and his entourage prayed God to avert future occurrence of such incidents and the full restoration of peace to Borno State. The Director General SEMA Hajiyaba Okolo said the fire disaster destroyed 83 households with food items and other valuables, thereby rendering the victims homeless and stranded. She added that SEMA, through its rapid response team, immediately upon hearing the incident, swung into action by putting the fire off, as well as the immediate provision of the relief items. Member House of Representatives, Jerry Federal Constituency, Engineer Satomi Ahmed, commended the state government for the immediate intervention through provision of relief materials and appealed for immediate provision of temporary shelter to the stranded victims, considering the fact that it is fasting period coupled with harsh weather in Maiduguri. Pauline Kujevana, NTA News.
Women wing of the Christian Association of Nigeria, CAN, Borno State chapter, has added its voice in prayer and supplications to God against the incessant killings in the country. The women have been rendering prayers for divine intercession over security challenges bedeviling the Northeast and the entire nation. Here again is Pauline Kujevana with more on that.
The Women Wing of Christian Association of Nigeria, CAN, Borno State, cried out for God's intervention for the innocent souls being killed and rendered homeless due to various forms of criminalities in the country.
We need to come to pass, but to make change, we should follow in time like this, so that they can give us the grace to stand.
Vice Chairperson of Women Wing CAN, Borno State, Comrade Lucy Yunana, dwelt her text from the book of Numbers chapter 14 verse 28 and Proverbs chapter 18 verse 21, charging the faithful to decree calmness to the unrest in the country, and God will surely answer.
Will take this great Nigeria to a promised land.
Brother Maxwell Ojo led the women in prayers, interceding for mercy and peace upon the land, good leadership and unity of the country, as well as for the vengeance of God upon the enemies of the country. The faithful were charged not to relent in prayer until calmness and peace become the reality in Borno and Nigeria at large. In Maiduguri, Pauline Kujevana, NTA News.
And those are the latest stories at this time from Maiduguri. Ruth in Abuja has more reports for us on Nationwide. Do enjoy the rest of the evening.
Thank you very much, Abubakar. You too. Nigeria's National Action Plan on mercury in the artisanal and small-scale mining sector has been successfully completed to promote environmentally friendly gold mining and processing. The action plan was presented alongside national policies on solid and plastic waste management. Let's hear more from Onenge Fineface.
Chemical risks in gold mining, poor management of solid and plastic waste, as well as poor water, sanitation and hygiene practices, constitute 29% of the national burden of diseases in Nigeria.
There are a lot of communicable, non-communicable diseases. You're talking about cancer, high blood pressure, that are associated with inhalation of chemical like mercury that is associated with gold mining.
The National Action Plan document on mercury is Nigeria's official fulfillment of its obligation to the Minamata Convention of 2013 to provide a multi-sectoral policy for the elimination of mercury in artisanal and small-scale gold mining.
More importantly, it has mapped out a way forward for gold mining and its associated mercury management in the country.
This document, together with the national policies on solid and plastic wastes, when implemented, will significantly reduce risks of communicable and non-communicable diseases, as well as promote health and well-being of Nigerians across all sectors.
Implementing and mainstreaming this plan into our national development process is a necessity if we are to protect human health and the environment from anthropogenic emissions.
The plan was developed by the United Nations Industrial Development Organization in collaboration with the Federal Ministries of Environment, Health and that of Mines and Steels Development. Onengiye Fineface, NTA News.
A look at electoral matters. INEC office in Ohafia local government area of Abia State has been set ablaze. The incident occurred late Sunday night, 9th May 2021. There were no casualties on the part of the staff on duty, but the building was completely destroyed. Apart from furniture items, all electoral materials and office equipment were destroyed. INEC National Commissioner for Information, Festus Okoye, says this will not affect the continuous voters registration exercise slated to start from the 28th of June 2021 in the state. However, the incident has been reported to the police for investigation, while an emergency meeting of the Interagency Consultative Committee on Election Security will hold next week to discuss the disturbing trend. The Minister of Transportation, Chibike Rotimi Amechi, has inaugurated a 7-man panel of inquiry to probe the activities of the suspended Managing Director of the Nigerian Ports Authority, Hadiza Bala Usman. At the inauguration in Abuja, the minister called for thorough investigation of activities at NPA from 2016 till date. Oina Kaloka reports.
What is wrong in looking at what's happening in NPA? I don't see what is wrong in that. As Minister for Transportation for 4 years, I hardly have known what's happening in NPA, and I want to know now. And the President agreed with me that it's my responsibility as the Minister for Transportation to inquire what is going on.
The Minister of Transportation, Chibike Rotimi Amechi, made it clear that the suspended Managing Director of Nigerian Port Authority, Hadiza Bala Usman, has not yet been indicted, but the investigation is to get a clearer picture of activities in NPA.
Be diligent. Invite anybody you want to, but please invite the minister if there are infractions that involves the minister.
The terms of reference of the panel include examining and investigating the administrative policies and strategies adopted by the suspended MD from 2016 till date.
There's so much noise. It's always best to rise above the noise, block your ears, and keep your head down and do what is in the interest of the entire country.
Director, Maritime Services, NPA, Suleiman Awelu, is the chairman of the panel.
To be honest and fair in the discharge of this moral responsibility.
After completion, the report is expected to be submitted to the President. Oyinaya Kaluoka, NTA News.
A truck fully loaded with live cartridges skidded off the road and emptied its contents along Oka Road, Onitsha, Sunday morning, causing panic among residents. However, police in Anambra State said it has recovered the fallen truck and its contents. A statement signed by the State Police Public Relations Officer Tochukwu Ikenga said the driver of the truck has been arrested and investigations are ongoing. He urged members of the public not to panic but continue to go about their lawful businesses, even as he solicits for support to help the police and other security agencies combat the prevailing security challenges. Let's take you to Kaduna now, where we hear that the damaged portion of Lagos-Kano narrow gauge that resulted in recent derailment of a goods wagon train in Kaduna has been fixed, with the railway authorities calling on communities along the track to lend a hand of support in protecting the national asset. Haruna Mohammed reports.
For about a week since the 15-wagon goods train conveying water pipes from Lagos to Zaria derailed and capsized at Ongwan-Kanawa in Kaduna, officials of the Nigerian Railway mobilized to location with a view to fixing the vandalized track and restoring rail services. With the repairs concluded, the track certified by the authorities, train services have resumed on the line and water pipes up for delivery at destination.
We had a meeting with the Minister of Environment in Kaduna State to see the possibility of reading our corridor of Bola, all these refuse dumps and so on.
In the meantime, the vigilance of the railway officials earlier on assessment of damaged tracks before the replacement of sleepers clip paid off. Some suspected vandals of these critical national assets were apprehended.
It's a national asset, and if we continue this way, everything is going to go down the drain.
With the rail services restored, movement of goods and services along the Lagos-Kaduna-Zaria-Kano narrow gauge is expected to be made easier. In Kaduna, Haruna Mohammed, NTA News.
Well, barely 24 hours after the repairs on the damaged portion of the Lagos-Kano narrow gauge in Kaduna, a re-railment crane brought in to move the empty wagons has capsized at the same location, damaging 3 vehicles and injuring 4 of the railway staff. That's a picture of the crane accident there. Nation building is dependent on efficient local government administration. Guests on NTA's Good Morning Nigeria, who applauded the recent Supreme Court ruling reversing the sack of duly elected local government chairmen in Oyo and Katsina states, emphasized that efficient local governments will restore national dignity and development. Lydia Sampson reports.
The guest noted that the Apex Court ruling in favor of appellants in the third tier of government only affirms existing laws which need to be enforced. They decried the fact that some state governments have not conducted local government elections for 6 years, describing the trend as constitutional insubordination on the part of state governors.
The system of governance in Nigeria under local government shall be by democratically elected government. But as soon as governors come to power and the elected councillors or chairmen are not of their political party, they engage in this kind of constitutional abuse of dissolution.
It's about greed. The governors do this because they want to take the funds meant for local government that is in the joint account of local government. Otherwise, if a people have been elected, why would a governor seek to control them by dissolving the council?
In their opinion, the key to national development is getting it right at the local governments, which are currently being stifled by some state governors.
We need to understand what is the current status. In the federal structure called Nigeria, we need the Supreme Court to define that. Now, in defining that, they will be able to give us a proper definition of autonomy of the local government.
If we are talking of devolution of powers, if we are talking about autonomy, yes, the local governments can be autonomous to the extent that we understand that that is where nation building starts from.
We need people of strong character to join politics in our country, Nigeria. What we should come to politics to do is just to make a clear difference. If you are in the State House of Assembly, you should not turn to be the puppets or agent of the governor of the state. If you do that, you are losing your credibility and integrity.
The girls hinged the survival of the third tier of government on the independence of state legislators as well as respective state electoral commissions. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
Talking sports, Ministry of Sports set to constitute electoral committee for sports federations elections. Let's get details now with Badi Adeleye.